Dear students and my teacher friends, Namaskar. I welcome you to the presentation lecture on Autonomic Nervous System, Parasympathetic Division we are discussing today. So today the topic of our discussion is Parasympathetic Division of Autonomic Nervous System. Now in this lecture first we are going to discuss about the cranial component. In this we will discuss that how the parasympathetic fiber they combine with the cranial nerve, and how this cranial nerves they travel along, they reach to the various organ, and what function this cranial nerves they are performing. That part we are going to discuss initially. Then from spinal cord, this pelvic splanchnic nerve arise, and where this pelvic splanchnic nerve is traveling, and what is the action of pelvic splanchnic nerve. Okay, the function of pelvic splanchnic nerve we are also discussing in this lecture. So starting with the first point, parasympathetic division of autonomic nervous system. See, the parasympathetic division is also known as craniosacral division. The reason is the nerve fibers of parasympathetic division they originate from the brain and the sacral region of spinal cord. Okay, once again, parasympathetic division also known as craniosacral division. The reason is the nerve fibers of parasympathetic division they arise from brain and sacral region of spinal cord. That's why. So here this is the figure. This figure is showing the entire autonomic nervous system parasympathetic division, and you observe this closely, read all the names. Okay, and here the key is given. So red color is used for pre-ganglionic neurons, and the dotted red color line is used for post-ganglionic neurons. So this is the entire parasympathetic nervous system. Okay. So here you can see over here, these are the this red dots, okay, these red dots are actually the somas of pre-ganglionic neurons. These are also somas of pre-ganglionic neurons. Okay. So the fibers of parasympathetic division they travel with the cranial nerve and the sacral nerve. They combine, they join with the cranial and the sacral nerve. Okay, sacral nerve, that means the spinal nerve. Now, as I have shown you in the figure, the somas of preganglionic neuron they are present in the brain, and they are present in the midbrain, pons and medulla oblongata. And the somas of preganglionic neuron they are present in S2 to S4 segment of the spinal cord that we have seen. Okay, once again I am showing you. So here you can see the somas are present in midbrain, pons and medulla oblongata, and here in the sacral region S2 to S4 the somas are present of preganglionic neurons. Okay, so this is the first point of our discussion. Now moving on the second point. Now this is the second point. See, see, in parasympathetic nervous system, the preganglionic fibers, they are long, and this long preganglionic fiber, they end in terminal ganglia, or this long preganglionic fiber, they end near the or inside the target organ. So in parasympathetic nervous system, here you can see in this figure, for preganglionic neuron green color is used, and for the postganglionic neuron a red color is used. So in the figure, as you can see, this preganglionic neuron, they are quite longer one, and when we see this postganglionic neuron, they are the very shorter one. Okay, so once again I am showing you, this is the parasympathetic nervous system. Okay. Okay. Now, when the preganglionic fiber, they end in terminal ganglia, and where this terminal ganglia are present, so this terminal ganglia, if this terminal ganglia, if these ganglia are embedded in the wall of target organ, so inside the wall of target organ, if this terminal ganglia is located, that time this terminal ganglia, they are known as intramural ganglion, and intra meaning within, and mur means wall. So that means terminal ganglion, they are embedded in the wall of the target organ. So here we can understand the length of the preganglionic fiber. They are having the length that much that they reach up to the level of target organ. Okay, they are elongated up to the target organ, and finally they terminate in the terminal ganglia. Now, so parasympathetic division has a long preganglionic fiber, and these fibers, preganglionic, they are reaching almost all the way to the target cell, and postganglionic, for example this one, postganglionic fiber, they are very short one, and they cover very short distance. Okay, so most of the distance is covered by preganglionic fiber. Okay, and only the short distance is covered by postganglionic fiber. This is the figure. Okay. Now the third point. Okay. 1 minute. Now, see, this is the third point. There is some neural divergence in parasympathetic division. Okay, So there are some variation you will observe in parasympathetic division, but this variations or the divergence or these differences are much less than in the sympathetic division. Now, the parasympathetic division has a ratio of fewer than 5 postganglionic fiber to every preganglionic fiber. Now, what is the meaning of this thing? Parasympathetic division has a ratio of fewer than 5 postganglionic fiber to every preganglionic fiber. So, over here, as you can see in this figure, this is the preganglionic fiber and this is the postganglionic fiber. And by looking at this figure, you are thinking that this is the one preganglionic fiber and this one is the one post ganglionic fiber, but this is not the case. Actually, we need to understand that here there are many preganglionic neurons are there, and this neuron they merge with the cranial nerve. Okay, and similarly over here there are many postganglionic neurons. Okay, their numbers are also very large. Okay, this postganglion, and what is the ratio? What is the ratio between this preganglion and this postganglion? So ratio is fewer than 5 postganglionic fiber to every preganglionic fiber. That means the one preganglionic fiber synapse at least 4 synapse with at least 4 to 5 postganglionic neurons or the fibers. That is the meaning of this line. Okay, now furthermore, the preganglionic fiber, since the preganglionic fiber is very long, this fiber reaches the target organ. Okay, and before even this slight divergence occur. Slight divergence means, see, the preganglionic fiber, that means the preganglionic fiber is reaching up to the level of target organ, and here in the target organ, now the preganglionic fiber synapses with more number of postganglionic fibers. Okay, so this is the slight divergence. Now, the parasympathetic division is therefore relatively selective in its stimulation of target organ. That means parasympathetic division precisely function or particular target organ. Okay, it is having effect on particular target organ in our body. So this is the figure, parasympathetic nervous system schema. Okay. Now we are discussing the fourth point. See, parasympathetic fiber, we know the somas are present in brain and spinal cord, right? Now the parasympathetic fibers, that means the bundle of axon. So soma is present in brain and spinal cord, and the axon bundle leave the brainstem, and this fibers following cranial nerves. That means they merge with particular cranial nerve. Okay, they combine with the cranial nerve. and then they travel along in our body. So first three supply, see, the first three cranial nerves, okay, first three cranial nerve, uh, to which this parasympathetic fibers they are joining. So are these three cranial nerve. See, that means what they are saying, that the parasympathetic fiber they leave the brainstem, okay, and this parasympathetic fiber they join with the cranial nerve, and now these fibers along with the nerve they are innervating our head, okay, then the visceral organ, okay. Viscera means visceral organ, bodily organ of thoracic cavity, for example our chest region, okay, and the abdominal pelvic cavities, okay. So abdominal organ and the pelvic region organ they are innervated by parasympathetic fibers. One such kind of nerve is oculomotor nerve. Oculomotor nerve, I have already shown you the figure, right? So once again you can scroll back and you observe the figure where exactly the oculomotor nerve, okay. Now oculomotor nerve is having parasympathetic fiber, okay, and this parasympathetic fiber which are connected with oculomotor nerve, they control the lens and pupil of the eye. So here in the figure, see, this one is the oculomotor nerve, and in this nerve parasympathetic fibers are also present, okay. And what these fibers are doing, so this parasympathetic fiber they are controlling lens and pupil of the eye. Now the preganglionic fibers enter the orbit, okay. Preganglionic fiber, you imagine how long they are, and the preganglionic fiber they are entering in the orbit and they terminate in the ciliary ganglion, and the ciliary ganglion is present behind the eyeball. So here you see behind the eyeball this ciliary ganglion is present, and in this ganglion as you can see the preganglionic neurons or the parasympathetic fiber they are terminating, okay. They are ending over here in ciliary ganglion present behind the eyeball. Now postganglionic fiber enter the eyeball and innervate the ciliary muscle, okay. Now we are talking about, so here in the ciliary ganglion, see, this is the preganglionic fiber, this is the postganglionic, and this is the synapse. So preganglionic and postganglionic they are synapting in ciliary ganglion. Now we are talking about this postganglionic fiber. Now what this postganglionic fiber is doing, so postganglionic fiber enters the eyeball, and this postganglionic fiber they innervate the ciliary muscle, and this ciliary muscle they thicken the lens of our eye, okay. Then the postganglionic fiber also innervate pupillary constrictor, and this pupillary constrictor constrict the pupil or narrows the pupil, okay. So postganglionic fiber innervating ciliary muscle thicken the lens, postganglionic fiber innervating pupillary constrictor narrow the pupil. So in the figure I am showing you this. So now you see postganglionic fiber, okay. cholinergic stimulation of pupillary constrictor. That means the axon terminal is releasing neurotransmitter acetylcholine. Okay, that's why cholinergic stimulation the word is used. Okay, and here you can see the iris pupil are shown, and see parasympathetic effect or the cholinergic effect. So here we can see the pupil is constricted, and see how the sympathetic nervous system. So this one is the preganglionic nerve fiber, and this one is the postganglionic fiber. Postganglionic fiber here in this case adrenergic stimulation of pupillary dilator. Okay, and adrenergic means neurotransmitter is NE. Okay, norepinephrine. And now what happens? Sympathetic, due to sympathetic or androgenic effect, pupil dilated. Okay, so I am showing you. So this is the theory point. This is the figure. Okay, now we are discussing the fifth point. Okay, and in this point we are discussing about the facial nerve, nerve number 7. So here this nerve, okay, this nerve, okay, this is the 7th cranial nerve known as facial nerve. Now the facial nerve carries parasympathetic fiber. Okay, parasympathetic fiber, they merge with the facial nerve, and this parasympathetic fiber, they regulate the tear gland, also known as lacrimal gland, salivary gland, and nasal gland in the nose. Okay, so parasympathetic fiber of facial nerve, they regulate tear gland, salivary gland, and nasal gland. See, soon after the facial nerve emerges from the pons, once the facial nerve leaves the pons, its parasympathetic fiber split away and forms 2 smaller branches. This is the pons. This nerve is leaving the pons, facial nerve, and it's split. It's split into 2 branches. This one and this one. These are the 2 branches in which the facial nerve split. Okay. Now the superior branch end at the pterygopalatine ganglion. Okay, superior branch, where it is ending? So it is ending at pterygopalatine ganglion. So this is the superior branch and ending at pterygopalatine ganglion. And where this pterygopalatine ganglion is present? So it is present near the junction of the maxilla and palatine bone. Now Now postganglionic fibers then continue to tear gland and glands of the nasal cavity, palate and other areas of the oral cavity. Okay, so postganglionic fiber after the ganglion, this one where they are reaching, so tear gland, nasal cavity, palate and other areas of oral cavity. So here you can see this is the ganglion pterygopalatine, and this with the dotted line, this is the postganglionic fiber. And as you can see, the postganglionic fiber, it is innervating the lacrimal gland, innervating the nasal cavity, okay, then the palate and also some part of the oral cavity is innervated by this postganglionic fiber. Okay, now the inferior branch, this was the superior branch and this is the inferior branch of facial nerve. So here first you see this is the facial nerve, it was bifurcated, this is the superior branch, this is the inferior branch. So now we are discussing the inferior branch. So inferior branch crosses the middle ear cavity and inferior branch ends at the submandibular ganglion. Here in the figure you can see the inferior branch ending at submandibular ganglion. And where this submandibular ganglion is present? So near the angle of the mandible. Now from this ganglion, inside this ganglion there is a synapse between preganglionic fiber and postganglionic fiber, right? So now the postganglionic fiber they arise from submandibular, and where this postganglionic fiber they are reaching, so the postganglionic fiber they innervate the salivary gland, and this salivary gland is present in the floor of the mouth. Okay, so here you see this is the postganglionic fiber and innervating the salivary gland. Okay, and the salivary gland they are present in the floor of mouth. Here you can see they are present in the floor of mouth. Okay, so this is the fifth point and this is the figure. Okay, this is the key preganglionic nerve fiber, postganglionic nerve fibers. Okay, now we are moving forward. Now the sixth point we are discussing. Now the glossopharyngeal nerve, nerve number 9. So this is the glossopharyngeal nerve. Okay. Now the glossopharyngeal nerve also carries parasympathetic fibers, and these parasympathetic fibers of glossopharyngeal nerve they are related with the salivation. Okay, Now first, the preganglionic fibers, they leave the nerve glossopharyngeal soon after their origin, and then after leaving the glossopharyngeal nerve, this preganglionic fiber, they are forming the tympanic nerve. Okay, now this tympanic nerve, in which the preganglionic fibers are present, this nerve crosses the middle ear cavity, and now this tympanic nerve ends in the otic ganglion, and otic ganglion is present near the foramen oval. So see, this is the nerve number 9, okay, and this is the otic ganglion. Now from this otic ganglion, postganglionic fibers. So here in the otic ganglion, we can understand there is a sinus between the preganglionic fiber and postganglionic fiber. Okay, and now this postganglionic fiber then follow trigeminal nerve to the parotid salivary gland. Okay, so postganglionic fiber with this trigeminal nerve, they innervate this salivary gland. Okay, this salivary gland they are innervating, and this one is the otic ganglion, and this is the nerve innervating this salivary gland. So parrot, and this salivary gland is known as parotid salivary gland, present just in front of the ear lobe. Okay, so this is about the glossopharyngeal nerve and how this nerve with this, how this parasympathetic fiber they associate with this glossopharyngeal nerve and how they travel. Okay, so that thing we have discussed in this point, and this is the figure. Okay, now we are discussing the 7th point. Okay, now in the 7th point, we are discussing about the vagus nerve. Okay, first let me show you this vagus nerve. Okay, nerve number, cranial nerve number 10 they are showing. So this is the vagus nerve, this one is the vagus nerve they are showing. Okay, and from here it is coming out. Okay, this is the vagus nerve. So I am showing you the entire figure. Okay. 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 Now the vagus nerve carries about 90% of all parasympathetic preganglionic fibers. Okay, 90% of parasympathetic preganglionic fibers are present in vagus nerve. Now this vagus nerve travels down the neck, and this vagus nerve forms 3 networks. Okay, and these networks are known as plexus. And where these plexuses are formed? So in the mediastinum of chest. So in the middle part of the chest, three plexuses are formed by vagus nerve. These plexuses are: number one, cardiac plexus, second is pulmonary plexus, and third is the esophageal plexus. Vagus nerve, cardiac plexus, pulmonary plexus, esophageal plexus. First, cardiac plexus. Cardiac plexus, as the name suggests, supplies fibers to the heart. Okay. See, cardiac plexus supplying fibers to heart. Pulmonary plexus, fibers accompany the bronchi and blood vessel into the lung. So pulmonary plexus, from pulmonary plexus, the fibers, they reach to the bronchi and the blood vessel of the lung are innervated by the fibers of pulmonary plexus. So here it is, pulmonary plexus, this one, and these are the fibers. Okay. Then the third one is the esophageal plexus, and the fibers of this plexus, they regulate the swallowing. So from esophageal plexus, this is the esophageal plexus, and you can see the fiber is reaching to the esophagus. Okay. And the oral cavity region is also innervated. So that's why the swallowing is regulated by esophageal plexus. So this is theory point, and this is the figure. Okay. Now we are discussing the 8th point. Now at the lower end of the esophagus, what happened? These plexuses that we have discussed in point number 7, these plexuses give off anterior and posterior vagal trunk. From the plexuses, vagal trunk is formed, anterior and posterior. Now each of which, that means anterior and posterior vagal trunk, contains fibers, and from this fibers of both right and left vagal trunk and left vagus nerve. Okay, so now from the trunk, the fibers penetrate diaphragm, and the fibers enter into the abdominal cavity, and they contribute to extensive abdominal aortic plexus. And about this plexus we have already discussed. Okay, so now as we have seen that sympathetic fibers, synapse here, okay, and the parasympathetic fibers, however, pass through the plexus without synapsing. Okay, so the parasympathetic fibers are not synapting and they are passing through this plexus. Okay. Now the parasympathetic fibers, they synapse further along. Okay, they cross the distance and they reach far away, the parasympathetic fibers. And parasympathetic fiber, they synapse in terminal ganglia near the liver or the pancreas or the stomach or small intestine or kidney or ureter or proximal half of the colon. So here you can see this is the vagus now, right? And these are the fibers, and you can see the fibers, they are reaching to all the way to the liver. Okay, in the liver, here they are making synapse with the postganglionic fiber. Here they are making the synapse. Here in the wall of stomach they are making the synapse. Okay, in the pancreas, in the large intestine, okay, in the small intestine, they are making the synapse. Okay, so the parasympathetic fiber, they travel a long distance, and finally in the organ, digestive organ, they are synapsing with the postganglionic fiber. So this is the 8th point. And this is the figure. Now we are discussing the 9th point. Okay. Now the remaining parasympathetic fiber, they arise from level S2 to S4 of the spinal cord. So this one is the S2 to S4 level of spinal cord, and from here, as you can see, the parasympathetic fibers are arising. Parasympathetic fiber, they travel short distance in anterior rami of spinal nerve, and after that they form pelvic splanchnic nerve. So here you can see pelvic splanchnic nerves are shown. Okay. Pelvic splanchnic nerve lead to the inferior hypogastric plexus. Pelvic splanchnic nerve, this is the inferior, this one is the inferior hypogastric plexus. Okay, so in other words we can say the pelvic splanchnic nerve, they form the inferior hypogastric plexus. Then from this plexus, some parasympathetic fiber, they synapse over here. Okay, synapse with postganglionic fiber, and most of them pass through this plexus, hypogastric plexus. Most of the fiber, parasympathetic, they pass through this plexus. They are not synapting over here. Some of them synapting, most of them not synapting. They are passing this plexus, and they travel by way of pelvic nerve. So with the pelvic nerve, the parasympathetic fiber are traveling And where they are reaching? So they are reaching at terminal ganglia. And where this terminal ganglia are present? They are present in the target organ. Okay, and which are the target organ? So target organs are distal half of the colon, rectum, urinary bladder, and reproductive organ. Yeah. So here you can see the parasympathetic fiber where they are reaching. So descending colon, rectum, bladder, then clitoris, okay, then penis, uterus, vagina. Okay. So here the parasympathetic fibers which arise from S2 to S4 level of spinal cord, they are innervating the reproductive organ, bladder, colon, rectum, okay, all this organ. See, parasympathetic system does not innervate body wall structures. So sweat gland, piloerector muscle, cutaneous blood vessel, they are not innervated by parasympathetic system. Okay. Now we have completed all the discussion of the theory point, but few more things I would like to discuss with you. Now we are discussing about the neurotransmitter and the receptor of sympathetic and parasympathetic division of autonomic nervous system. See, cholinergic neurons and adrenergic neuron. Cholinergic neurons in the sympathetic, okay, and parasympathetic division. Okay. Now what is this? See, when we say cholinergic neuron, so cholinergic neuron as a neurotransmitter, they release acetylcholine, okay, and adrenergic neuron, they release neurotransmitter norepinephrine NE as a neurotransmitter. Cholinergic receptor, they are nicotinic and muscarinic receptor, while the androgenic receptor are where they are present. So they are present in the plasma membrane. Okay, so they are present, they are the integral membrane protein, and this integral membrane protein located in the plasma membrane of postsynaptic neuron or an effector cell. So here let's look at this figure. See, this figure, sympathetic division, innervation to most effector tissue. So in the sympathetic division, this is the preganglionic neuron, and axon terminal releases acetylcholine as neurotransmitter. Now this is the ganglion, and this is the synapse, okay, between preganglion and postganglionic neuron. Now as you can see on the dendrite of postganglionic neuron, the receptor is present. This receptor is nicotinic receptor, okay, and ECH is accepted by this nicotinic receptor. Postganglionic neuron, neurotransmitter norepinephrine is released by axon terminal, and now effector cell they are showing this one, and on the effector cell adrenergic receptor. Okay, so this NE is accepted by this adrenergic receptors. Okay, now here once again sympathetic division. This is the cell of sweat gland. Okay, so see, this is preganglionic neuron, acetylcholine neurotransmitter. Okay, this is the ganglion they are showing. Then on post ganglionic neuron, nicotinic receptor. Now ACH join with this receptor. Now impulse propagate, and post ganglionic neuron now release acetylcholine as neurotransmitter, and this neurotransmitter combined with muscarinic receptor present on the cell of sweat gland. Now here parasympathetic division. Okay, so here you can see this is the preganglionic neuron neurotransmitter acetylcholine. Okay, and this is the post ganglionic neuron. So on post ganglionic neuron, nicotinic receptor are present. Okay, and this is the effector cell they are showing. Okay, and on effector cell, muscarinic receptor. So now this ACH joins with this muscarinic receptor. So in parasympathetic, as we can see, the ACH, acetylcholine is neurotransmitter. Okay, so I'm showing you this entire figure. Okay. Now few more figure I would like to show you. See, this is the overview of the autonomic nervous system. Okay. This is the location of sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system in our body. Diagram of autonomic conduction path. Okay, in the previous lecture we have discussed this thing. Okay, sympathetic division once again, just to brush up your concept of sympathetic division. Okay, then in this figure, okay, see CNS, see where the somas are present. So somas are present in the brain or spinal cord. Then the fiber. Okay, so the fiber merge with the nerves, either the cranial or the spinal nerve, that means PNS. And you see the neurotransmitter, the receptors. Okay, and this is the parasympathetic division. Okay, neurotransmitter, receptor. Okay, just if you are interested, you can go through this, but this is very much in detail. Androgenic fiber, cholinergic fiber. Stable. Okay, then we have already discussed this thing. Okay. Then this sympathetic and vasomotor tone, okay, how the blood pressure and how the blood vessel they are contracted and blood vessel dilated, okay, and how the autonomic nervous system is regulating this contraction and dilation of the blood vessel. If you are interested, you can go through this figure. Vasoconstriction, vasodilation. Okay, this is the map, okay, for peripheral nervous system. Okay, so peripheral nervous system, and here organization of the parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, this way. Then this is the table, the main effects of parasympathetic nervous system on target cell. Just in case you are interested, you can go through this table. Okay. Some additional information. So with this, we have completed our discussion on parasympathetic division of autonomic nervous system. I hope you have enjoyed this presentation lecture, and I also hope that this presentation lecture will be helpful in your exam preparation and also in your studies. My name is Manish Kosti sir. I am from Ahmedabad, India. Bye bye. Namaste.